And I said, I'm going to fight you. There wasn't any. And he said, and he just grabbed me. And I said, well, I can't fight you when you won't let me go. So I just said, I'm going. I said, I'm going tomorrow. I'm going to move down to Mrs. O'Malley's place. And I started living there. Still contacted them, but I just... Okay. They finished up having 7 kids together.
That's it.
Yeah.
Were you the only child?
No, I had another sister who had a... We because of our stepmothers, and there wasn't the only one, but over the time, my sister and I were most probably looked after a little bit by other people of the family, like my daughter. So the aunties and uncles, when the families were out in the kitchen, we would be out in the lounge room and had to play with Uncle Johnny and Uncle Jenny sometimes and do this. And yeah, it's
a different life. Did you ever grow up thinking you were without things? You know, to not have your mum and to have these other girlfriends in the house. And hey, did you have a best mate at the time who had everything that seemed perfect?
No, it was never. Okay. I think it was always my life is that I've always, well, you know, if I want to have something, I'm going to have something. I just don't worry about it.
Okay, because it was never be lost.
I mean, I can go and buy a Lacoste shirt if I want to.
Yeah, but the feeling of mum and getting cuddled and that sort of stuff.
Don't know. I don't know what it's don't know what it's about. Yeah, I mean, I could. My 2 girls who are 35 and 37 now want to know more, and I said, well, I can't tell you too much. I said there wasn't. I said, you know, I don't. It's a story. It's not sadness.
Yeah. Did you ever try and look up records?
Well, I read. Okay, I'm in the police cadets.
Oh, here we go.
So I got in the police cadets, and so I'm done my 3 years. I'm 18. I'm in the CIB in Sydney. I'm working for the Vice Squad. Well, I just do filing and that, but that's what they call me. All the young kids, because in the cadets, what you do is you do all your training, and then in the afternoon you go to your Burwood or you go to Artarmon. Well, I got the Vice Squad, so I was called Mr. Sin. They all laugh. Oh, hey, Mr. Sin. Oh, and I was the smallest police cadet because I put 3 inches of Band-Aids under my heels to get in. Yeah, yeah. So you had to be 5'9.5". Oh, sorry, 5'9.5", and I was 5'8". So, but you get measured in your socks and your underpants. So when I go into training, I'm with all these big bully blokes playing for South Sydney and North Sydney, and they said, "How'd you come? You got in?" And I said, "Well, I got measured," and that's what the sergeant said. Go around the corner, get some Band-Aids. You wear your socks and your underpants, just put them underneath and we'll get you through. So that was,
brilliant.
Yeah, that was it. And I shrunk a year later. But I was the smallest copper in New South Wales when I got sworn in.
Excellent.
But anyway, before that I went upstairs and this little woman walked into the CIB, Matley, little woman. And she said, "Are you Robert McIntosh?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "I'm your mother." So that was a bit of a shock.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I rang Dad.
Well, so what?
Yeah.
So what? Wow. Did she, hang on a minute.
Yeah, I'm blanked out because I rang Dad and she was just wrong side of the street. That's the McIntosh family and the Blacktown family.
Really?
Or she might have worked up the cross.
Right, okay. Was she? Do you remember her? Did you see her much after that? Or what I want to ask you is, what did she look like? What was your first impression of this person?
No, she wasn't my mother.
Really?
Your mother's a fairy. She's beautiful, wonderful.
Right. So
that's what I thought.
Okay. So she came in maybe a bit frazzled and.
Oh, she was drunk.
That's it.
Yeah. Met her a few years later.
Yep.
Because someone wanted me to go and meet her, and I just sat down and had a bit of talk, and that was it. No, I said, we're down in Melbourne, matter of fact. And I said, "Where's that truck?" And she said, "What truck?" I said, "For all my presents you missed."
Yeah.
I think I was there for about an hour and never saw her. My sister kept in contact with her until she died a couple of years ago.
Do you remember what her age was? Like
80 something, I think.
Oh, no, when she first came and saw you. So you were in your 20s, perhaps?
Oh, no, I was,
You know, just like, did she have a young...
oh, she'd been, no, she's old. Old
Okay.
and frazzled. Had been remarried again to, had some other kids, and both of them are in jail. So,
Right, mate.
yeah,
And you think of
just-
the 60s in Sydney, even though they had trains and everything there, Blacktown, a million miles away. It's not like you could just do a search now.
that didn't even create. Didn't even. I just rang up Dad and I said, no, I'm not involved. Don't want to.
Well, hey,
That's how you. I just turned my shoulders. Just went. So
there must be a story there, sorry again,
Yeah.
in your dad's defence, for
Don't know.
him to look after you. There must be a story in that particular decision.
I don't know much about him.
Right, yeah, but
He only died 4 years ago.
Wow.
Absolutely treated me like shit.
wow. But somehow he looked, somehow I'm looking after this boy, not you. So
Boy and girl, yeah.
yeah. So then,
They were what we can say, the real estate agent people to the people who were on the dole. That was the difference,
okay,
I think. I don't know.
right. Well, mate.
My sister was the one who copped a fair bit of trouble. She's 18 months older than me, but she was brutalised by a lot of the step families and spent a bit of time working up the cross. Had 2 kids out of wedlock and finished up being happily married for 40 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I consider you a success.
Oh,
I mean, isn't it funny when we've come from millions of years of tribal stuff. I bring it up too much, but where you kind of we're in this weird part of the civilization right now where it's just wild,
yeah.
considering we've kind of come from these little things where you sort of knew everyone. If you could walk around with a sign going, this is where I've come from, and I'm a little bit, I'm not, to mum and dad and
No.
2.5 family, and because I've got 2 young kids right now and an older daughter who's 23. I know the difference between this really loving little family and all our love is going into these 2 kids. Like, it's perfect for these kids. Like,
Yeah, see, I
right
don't-
now. Yeah, so I know the difference.
So it's just to me, it's all a track. So, okay, police cadets, police force. I got myself in a bit of trouble there, did this, did that. But it's moving. Everything's a chapter. So there I was in 1969, sworn in as a constable of police. Had my grandparents turned up, and I think my father turned up. He didn't turn up to anything much. He never turned up to my weddings or anything like that.
Wow, that's so bizarre.
Yeah.
His son too. That makes me angry, mate. When blokes
Well, I found-
somehow lose contact with their. It happened to a mate on the weekend.
But I never had it with him anyway. He was too interested in it. Anyway, so
okay.
69, where was I staying? I was at Chatswood. That was my first station. That's a funny day, the first one. So here I am, whole 5'8.5" of me, and I'm so proud. I've got through everything. And I've got the old blue uniform on the hat, and I've got off the bus at Greenwich, and everyone's looking at and I'm fucking gorgeous. Oh, and I've got, starting to grow mutton chops, and I'm real copper. This is the first day going to work. So I get on the St Leonard's train to go to Chatswood, and I'm walking down, and I'm just about to show the world that I've arrived as a policeman. This little old lady came up to me, and she said, "You go home, you take that uniform off, and you give it back to the policeman."
Really?
That was it.
It just didn't look like you were in it. It's supposed to be in it. Really?
I looked like a 12-year-old, yeah. That's true.
That would have rattled you.
I just went,
You should have arrested her.
no, but I had that all the time. No one ever believed I was a policeman.
Yeah,
'Cause
okay.
You'd be going down with people, and
Right.
Yeah.
So I imagine in the 60s, you've got blokes that are like straight out of footy.
they're all playing for South Sydney.
Yeah.
And that little old me turn up.
Right.
But that happened a few times.
Good, but, I've got a copper mate. Spent his whole life in Browns Plains Police and Surfers Paradise Police. He's a mixed up. He's been on this, Paul Thompson.
Yep.
And he's a mixed up. He says it himself. Like, he feels like he was security because he was big and strong. He just worked security. He was just get punched and then spat in the mouth and throwing guys in jail for all these years. It's mixed him up.
never. I just got into. We were naughty, so Chatswood was pretty. We did what we were supposed to do. Had a few laughs there. Growing up, because the coppers tease you and that, and there's an arrest. There's an arrest this night, and they've said, "Come in here, young."
What's the Chatswood pub there? I did give that
Charles. Yeah. There's two stories of Chatswood Charles.
All right.
So I'm station sergeant. Like the sergeant's out the back. I just got to stand there, so he has his cup of tea. Oh, another lesson out there I learned. This is a lesson that I learned. I've come in right on 6 o'clock for meal, go in the crib room, and there's Brian Pearson sitting there having a meal. And I'm a young bloke, reasonably brought up with manners, but go straight down there and drop a fart. Well, there's Brian Pearson, 6'6", stood up and went bam. I woke up about an hour later properly. I've never broken wind in company since that day, ever. And if anyone I warn them in the car. If you break wind, if you fart around me, you're gone.
Right, you've got no reaction. I've did it in front of you. You've told me that story before.
Just don't do it.
I saw it in your face. You're like,
just don't do it.
Yeah.
So I learned the lesson that day. And
you want to know a funny story? Right over here in the corner of the studio, when you rang an hour ago, I just farted in this room.
That's all right.
And you rang, and I was like, shit, he's on his way. What about an hour, Rob? That's the honest truth story behind why I went, where are you? Oh, you're not here yet? 45 minutes? Great. Let's make it an hour.
There we go. Cleansed. Oh, so that was Brian.
It's a good thing. Well, so you got a reaction, getting punched in the face.
Oh, he knocked me out.
I wonder what his story was. I guess he was ex-military or something.
Oh, no, he's an ex-tall, rotten, cranky sergeant. They were all cranky sergeants. They're all, those days, they were all bullies and, they're the days of Roger Rogerson. Rogerson was a sergeant beside me in plain clothes, but I don't know too much about those stories.
Right. And what was his? I know his name, but his underworld. Connected.
He used to go and shoot the baddies. So he's a cop. He used to go out and,
that guy. Yes,
he's a guy in court now.
Yeah,
about drug deals. That's a long.
Right.
Coppers were shot and everything. I wasn't quite around at that time.
Right.
So then,
how easy though in those days to look. We can fill out paperwork, or we just go and shoot that bad guy, or like, hey, there's a room full of cash here. Yeah,
well, that wasn't. See, Chatswood was I was 18 months at Chatswood, I think, and then I got on. Then I did the bike course. Never been on a bike before, and they gave me a 650 Trumpy.
Excellent.
Well, that was
650
wonderful.
Triumph. Yep.
And I'm 10 stone 7, wringing fucking wet. So what I used to do now, although I did the bike course, you learned how to ride. When I went up there, they said, I said, no, I wouldn't have a clue. And they said, just watch out for angel gear. So, no gear.
What does that mean? Oh, okay.
You're going down the straight, you kick it into angel gear, you go straight in the fence.
Yes.
Well, we learnt that.
Right.
And if it fell in the water and you go over the big jumps and stuff like that, you've got to fix it up.
Oh, so this is at the actual course?
St Ives training course. 6 weeks. Yep. Yeah, so I learned how to ride a bike. So then I was more glorious, with the jodhpurs on and
yes,
got the mutton chops by this time.
In the golden era of everything, TV, Australian,
and we used to do
muscle cars and stuff,
and a little bit of drinking when you shouldn't have. We're naughty. See, North Sydney was.
There was no light beer, no Forest
light
Gold.
Beer. Well, you fucking drink it. So what we used to do, we did the Clearway Cyclists at North Sydney, right? North Sydney. I'm down at North Sydney now. The mutton chops are growing. I'm a bit leery. My hair's growing out the back. They call me Autumn because I couldn't really do a U-turn in front of people. I had to go up the side streets and fall over.
True.
And then with all my saddlebags and that. Right. So what we used to do, we had 8 cyclists north, 8 cyclists south. So what you used to do is you used to do the Clearway. When they finished, you go and do your own little thing. Yeah, go and see your girlfriend, do a bit of book work, go and see your girlfriend, go and see another girlfriend, go and have a drink. So you tossed up and, okay, A shift. Well, we've got to do the full shift right through to 11 o'clock. B shift, they go down to HMAS Platypus, the submarine base, after they get their free Kentucky fried chicken at Crowie, off Keith Barnes, the ex-boxer, and then you go down to Platypus, take your helmet off, 10 cents a schooner, take your bike down the lift, and at 11 o'clock you get them to point you back to North Sydney.